America faces a, quote, last chance to grow out of our debt before we plunge into European-style stagnation. So says Trump's pick for Treasury, Scott Bessent, who, Senate willing, will be replacing Janet Yellen. Now, Bessent's not wrong, with the national debt set to hit $37 trillion in the next couple months, almost a third above the World War II record as a share of GDP, and with debt service now hitting $1.4 trillion, triple over the past couple years, meaning nearly $1 in $3 the federal government currently collects goes straight out the back door to Wall Street and China to service old debt. Now, growth has been a central promise of Trumponomics, the key elements being lower taxes and regulations, more energy-friendly and manufacturing-friendly policies, low inflation, and with the Department of Government Efficiency, lower federal spending. If these can achieve, say, 3% growth and DOGE can at least balance the budget, then the debt starts to proper melt away. To see why, it's not the amount of debt that matters, it's the size of the debt relative to the economy. For example, $1 trillion in debt is not a big deal if you're America, but it's crippling if you're, say, a tiny country like Iceland, where $1 billion is huge. So if you simply hold your $36 trillion debt in place and grow the economy 3%, you've effectively paid off 3% of the debt, $1.1 trillion. Do that for a decade or two, and we are out of the woods. Now, the last time we managed high growth and zero deficits was the late 1990s. The reason was Bill Clinton and House Speaker Newt Gingrich could not agree on anything. They despised each other. The only thing they did agree on was not spending money. Now, back then, they turned a deficit of 1/6 of tax revenue into a surplus of 1/6 of tax revenue. So that's equivalent to going from $1 trillion deficit to $1 trillion surplus. Of course, the spending miracle ended with 9/11 and the dot-com crash, which George W. and the drunk sailors in Congress turned into an even bigger deficit in just 2 short years. Still, note, Clinton did not even do the rest of Trump's growth agenda, so Clinton had no love for fossil fuels, regulations got much worse, and that sent manufacturing fleeing to Asia. The only bright spot in the 90s was the spending, and apparently that was good for nearly 4% real GDP growth across the decade. Incidentally, in the following 8 years, once W and then Obama wrecked the deficit again, real growth dropped in half to just over 2%. So 4% growth with shrinking deficits, 2% when the government gets hungry. So what's next? Brought to you by OnChain.com. After 4 years of Biden's stagflation, the American people need growth. And they want the things it takes to get growth. I mentioned a recent CNBC poll that 73% of Americans want lower government spending, 78% want lower taxes, 3/4 want deregulation, lower business taxes, and more oil drilling. The challenge, of course, is Congress, because almost everything that grows the economy shrinks Congress's power. So the good news is the people are on our side. There's a way out. The bad news is it will take superhuman pressure to get Congress to do the right thing. If by some miracle they do, we can pull back from the abyss the Uniparty drove us right up to. Read the rest with big, beautiful charts at profsainonch.com. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.